and welcome back to Regal Watch Exchange. The last YouTube that I did on analyzing the Rolex market, I had a lot of feedback on that, and most of it was fairly predicting the market to continue to go down, and the Rolex market in particular. So I was just kind of reaching out and trying to get what your thoughts are, if you thought the Rolex market was going to move up or down or stabilize. I compared, in the last video, there was a comparison to the stock market and how normally we have to flush out some buyers before we stabilize and find a bottom and then come back up. I thought we were getting closer. Of course, this last week was pretty rough on the markets, and I think that maybe caused a little bit more panic into the watch market. I do think there's obviously a correlation between the market and people's feeling and perception of wealth, and that it does fall over into the Rolex market. I do kind of, the last video had that thought that there was lots of new buyers in the stock market, young buyers, and as well as lots of new young buyers in the Rolex and watch flipping business that may be panicking and ready to get out. And once they're getting out, then that the market would stabilize a little bit. But with the feedback I'm getting, and maybe there's just so many different concerns, geopolitical concerns with the world being unstable, the inflation being so extraordinarily high, that the headwinds are maybe just a little excessive right now to think that the market isn't going to continue to drop. It's interesting though, every time you think that it can't get worse, those are buying opportunities. I can still remember March 2020 when the Dow was at 18,000. I think most people thought that the market was just going to just keep falling. But if you had the guts to start buying in March 2020, I have a friend in the auto dealership business that was just read the market exactly right. Just started to buy more pre-owned vehicles in 2020, and you could kind of see how that played out for him to be an aggressive buyer when everybody else was selling. I do think to make money in the market, you do have to be a contrarian, and when everybody is thinking that the market is collapsing, those are opportunities. I think that, you know, but I would still buy. If you're a collector, there's really two ways of looking at this. Is if you're a collector, you just buy what you want and you keep it and you love it and you enjoy it. You're not really thinking too much of return, other than just the psychology of thinking that you have something that's got some value and it's increasing in value to make you feel better about your purchase. But for those who are actually doing this, trying to predict how to make money in the watch market and how to predict make money specifically in the Rolex Patek and maybe Audemars Piguet market, a little bit more complicated trying to figure out those, because it really comes down to the exact watches. It seems ones that are holding up the best are maybe the lower end sports models in stainless steel. Some of the more speculative stuff, I was watching like the green Daytona that went from 2 years ago to 50,000 to 150,000 a few months ago, back down to 100,000. Had a friend that just wanted to sell me one that was brand new, and when I told him most dealers are about 90 on that, he was shocked. I'm getting my texts are blowing up right now with sellers, so I'm making adjustments too, trying to figure out how to price the market. My rule of thumb right now for stainless sports is about 10%. For the more precious metal and higher end stuff, maybe closer to 15 to 20%. If you're looking at some of the really speculative stuff, you know, if you're looking at a Tiffany blue 41 or a red or a yellow or some of those others that went up extraordinarily high, or again, kind of like the green Daytona and maybe some of the green day dates. Some of those are softened up quite a bit. I've watched the platinum Daytona go up there to about 200. Right now, I think it'd be really hard to find a buyer for probably 110, 120 right now. So those have significantly more than that 10% and 20% even. So it really depends on what model is, I think, specific. So if you're looking to buy a watch, I think you're pretty safe if you can get a Submariner or a GMT or something that at a reasonable and good price, and those don't seem like they have a lot more stable than some of these other ones that are more speculative. So, but I'd love to get some feedback and some of your thoughts on this. If you think the markets continue to tank and just fall apart, or if you think that there's going to be some recovery. I still vote for recovery. It always seems like we're getting to that point of capitulation, and the point of capitulation is where I just give up, I give up, and everybody's flushed out. There's a dramatic shift, and we seem to be right in the middle of that dramatic shift. I think when this dramatic shift and downturn is over, that is the stabilization, and the market will recover and return. It goes down a lot faster than it comes back up. But again, if you kind of like that V correction from 2020 to 2022, don't know if it'll be a V correction. My thoughts are people will be a little bit more tentative now as the market goes up. But you remember, soon we're going to be in the fall, and then we're going to be into the holidays. Chinese market will open up. You're going to see Rolex prices come back. I just think it's inevitable for holiday shopping. If we're not back in holiday shopping, I'll be shocked if those prices haven't rebounded considerably. So I'm still optimistic, more optimistic than most other people. Obviously, I think the majority of the markets are saying that there's going to be something down on this. So I would disagree with that and think that we're close to the end, and we'll start bouncing back up. Of course, you never know. Geopolitics, you know, somebody pushes a button, we got bigger problems than watches. Anyway, please subscribe, and I'd love to get some feedback and what we can do to present to you for this channel to make it a little bit more interesting again. But I'll tell you, we are not about lifestyle, about fast cars, and this is more about information about the markets and the watches that we're trying to sell and watches we're trying to buy. So it's really the watch business, almost exclusively. So thank you.